Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, the Worthy commences. Let's get to it. The season of the Worthy has already begun, and what does that mean for Destiny 2 and Destiny 2 players? There's actually quite a bit of changes that have happened from just the previous season to the current season, and one of the biggest things is that you're going to want 5 different bunker upgrades, and you'll want to get those as quickly as you possibly can, but we'll get to that in a minute. When you start the season of the Worthy, you will go to the tower, go talk to Saint 14, and that will start your quest track to start the Trials of Osiris. Additionally, you'll go to Eververse and then also to Zavala. Zavala will start the quest line for the bunkers. So this season, we have the Warmind taking a more active role in the Destiny universe. We have the ship coming in, and we have to do something about it before it just destroys everything. So, asking the Warmind to help us out, we have these Seraph bunkers that will help in some way. After talking to Zavala, you'll need to go and talk to Anna Bray, so you'll need to go to Mars. Now when you're looking at your armor, now you can change your elemental affinity, and that will cost 1 upgrade module, and that'll reset it back to 1. Now, if you want it to be at the same level that you currently have, you will need a lot of resources, especially if it's maxed out at level 10. The quest tab in the director has changed, and this gives you a little bit better idea of what to prioritize because you can have it listed by the season. So those quests that will disappear at the end of the season, you can see those there. Older quests, you can see anything from there, and that's in the past. Or you can just look at all of them all together. So when you get to Anna, she of course says, well, throwing a spaceship at us is certainly something new. And most of Rasputin's resources are in deep space looking for threats outside of the system. So it would take a long time to get those war sats back to help with this threat. So instead, we have the bunkers. Now the first step in this process is to both collect orbs of light and generate orbs of light. And that is relatively easy, especially if you have masterworked weapons. If you do not have masterworked weapons, then you want to go into free roam if you're by yourself and look for other people, especially doing a public event or like an escalation protocol where people will be using their supers and dropping orbs of light. But if you have masterworked weapons, this will be relatively easy as you can get an orb of light to drop after every 2 to 4 enemies destroyed. So you can go into a lost sector, you can do a public event, you can do just about anything and get those orbs of light generated and picked up. Now of course, if you have a super, you will need to use it before you can pick up any more orbs. Now all of these steps you'll want to do relatively quickly because this will get you your artifact for this season. Of course, the artifact gives you unique mods, and that is an easy way to get an additional points of power to your level. So if you have the season pass, you're going to want to get this done relatively quickly. Once you have all those orbs of light generated and collected, then you'll need to visit Rasputin, and there'll be a flag. You go to the flag, and then you do this little mini mission to get to Rasputin, and once that is done, then you'll have the artifact. Now once you get up to the Warmind, you'll notice that there are some big changes that have happened in the area since your last visit. There's going to be a lot more guards that are automated that Rasputin has put there as a defense mechanism, and once you talk to him, you'll have that mission complete and you'll get the artifact. Now looking at the artifact, you'll notice that this season there is an emphasis on submachine guns, sidearms, and a little bit in auto rifles and hand cannons, but mostly sidearms and submachine guns. So those anti-barrier overload, those are going to be mainly on those weapons, and then you have an unstoppable for the hand cannon. So the next step in the quest will have you going to the EDZ and going to the bunker. Now once you get to the bunker, you'll notice several things. First off, this is where you'll get your bounties for different weapons. Additionally, this is where the upgrades come from, and also something where you get a PDS or point defense system where it will clear out the bunker on a daily or weekly basis depending on the type of system that you pay for. Now these all require bits, war mine bits. So we'll get into how to get those war mine bits in just a little bit. So unlike the obelisks from last season, the bunkers need to be cleared out on a daily basis. Now there's only one in the EDZ right now, but in another 2 weeks we'll have one on the moon, and then another 2 weeks from then we'll have one on Io. So we'll have 3 that we'll need to clear out on a daily basis in order to interact with that menu. So you won't be able to interact with the menu. You won't be able to upgrade the bunker unless you clear it out. So that is something that you're going to want to do on a near daily basis, if not daily basis, especially early on when you don't have all the upgrades. At this point, we need to talk about the Seraph public events. Now, once you get to the bunker, that will be your next stop to start one of these public events, but you don't have to really do anything. You just have to participate in one. And these go on all the time. It is an on-demand public event, just like the escalation protocol. So it's always there, and as soon as someone interacts with it, then it is going to start up. Now, unlike most public events, this public event will need the coordinated efforts of several guardians. And there is no heroic version. There is only the base version, and I think that is probably just fine. Now, there are variations depending on how well you do. So there'll be a main tower in the middle that is building up, and then 3 smaller support towers on the sides. And you have to defend the support tower that is active from the enemies. So there'll be a square where the support tower is at. You need to clear out the enemies in that support tower because energy will build up in that area, and if there's enemies, then you'll only get 2 orbs to fire out, but if it's cleared out, then you get a whole bunch. And the difference is quite large. So these orbs you're going to use to help construct the tower. You're going to take the orb, look at that somewhere in between the support tower and the main tower, there's going to be a glowing orange ball floating in the sky. You're going to throw the orb at that ball, and then it is going to progress closer to the main tower. Once it gets all the way, that support tower will disappear and a new support tower will show up, and you'll need to do the same thing. Now, enemies will be able to come from at least 2 directions and probably 3 directions for most of them. So you'll need at least 1 guardian taking out enemies, and really everyone should be taking out enemies at the start, and then of course after all those balls pop out, then you can have 1 person guarding and everyone else grabbing those orbs, because this event is on a timer, so you'll want to get through the different steps quickly and as quickly as possible. Now, depending on the upgrades that you have in the bunker will determine what types of support, in addition to the normal things that you have in your normal weapons and abilities. So depending on what upgrades you already have purchased, you can maybe have a Valkyrie pop up, but that is only if you have those support towers cleared out. Now, whether you complete the tower successfully or not, you will get some bits. I believe it's 4 bits for a failed attempt and about 6 bits for a successful attempt. So this is not the most efficient way to get those war mine bits. Now, a successful attempt will also mean that there will be a second loot box available. So in addition to the normal box, you also have another box, but that requires an encrypted war mine bit, and those can be had by completing any of those daily bounties from the bunker. And speaking of the bunker bounties, those are the best way to get war mine bits. You have 4 normal ones, and then you have extra ones that you can get at an increased cost. And at the beginning, those upgrades are going to cost, for the tier 1s, they're going to be 90 bits plus planetary resources plus glimmer. So the important thing is to get those costs down if possible, and it is possible. And that brings us to, of course, the most important part: what bunker upgrades you should get first. So right off the bat, you should get that cost reduction tier 1, then you should get war bit generation tier 1, followed by war bit generation tier 2, which gives you extra war mine bits for completing those extra bounties, and then get the 2 and 3 for cost reduction, and that will bring your cost down from 90 to 60, and then 120, and then 240. So the cost of all of your tiers is going to go down significantly, so you'll need fewer bounties in order to do those upgrades. And of course, that will be important for future bunkers as well, so you want to look at ways to get extra war mine bits and reduce the cost of upgrades further. So, although it is difficult to get those upgrades, especially the tier 2 and tier 3, it is important to get those. Now, the weekly bounties that you can get from the bunker will give you 100 Warmind bits. So that'll go a long way to give you those cost reduction tiers. Now the extra ones, once you get that tier 2 upgrade, you'll go from getting 10 Warmind bits to 12 with a chance of getting 50. So if you have 5, more than likely one out of that 5 is going to give you 50 Warmind bits. So that is going to bump up your supply, your inventory of Warmind bits very quickly. And you can grind out those upgrades within a very short amount of time. So certainly by the time the next bunker comes out, you'll have all the upgrades for the current bunker. Now it's important to note that the Seraph public events will eventually be able to be done with 2 or 3 Guardians, but currently I would recommend going in and trying to complete it with 4 to 6 Guardians just to be on the safe side and get that complete so that you're able to open that chest at the end with the encrypted Warmind bit and get progress on that one weekly bounty. The other weekly bounty, of course, refers to the legendary Lost Sector, which has a recommended power of 1000 and has Nightfall-like modifiers. Currently, for the current week, we have the Shanks with a solar shield. All shields have extra health and match game, which means that you have to have the right element to take off the different shields. So you'll need arc for captains, you'll need solar for those Shanks, and it will be difficult to do, certainly by yourself, and even with a fire team of 3, if you're not close to that 1000 power level, it will make it a little bit more difficult in order to complete, especially once you get to a respawn restricted area. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.
2 years ago, the Warmind Rasputin helped humanity defeat the Hive on the Martian frontier. On that day, it swore to protect us. Now, it may be the only thing that can. The Red Legion has one last play. They have boarded their superweapon, the Almighty, and it's on the move. You already destroyed its star-killing munitions, but whatever the Legion hopes to achieve won't end well for us. They once took the tower. They will take nothing else. We'll see to that. Anna, come in!
Anna, are you there?
Just a moment.
Anna, report.
Copy, Commander. I've located the central manifold. It seems the Cabal have disabled the ship's MAV thrusters.
They killed the steering on this thing? Any idea what that was?
Checking. That explosion came from the propulsion deck. The Cabal have taken out the primary engine. Have you made it to the bridge yet?
Just a moment. They've destroyed the ship's navigation system. We're a dead stick.
None of this makes any sense. No nav, no engine, no way to steer or change course. It's like they want this thing to drift off into space forever.
Not forever. Guardian, the Almighty is plummeting towards the last city and we have no way to stop it. Anna believes that the Warmind Rasputin can prevent this catastrophe. It hasn't helped us before. I don't trust it will now. But I failed to get the job done. Now all I can do is prepare the city for all possible contingencies. Go to Anna. Get her whatever she needs. Rasputin swore to protect humanity. It's time we hold it to that promise.